All right, it is time, so we'll go ahead and get started. But hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Alertus Power Lunch, HPSA device management and alert configuration. My name is Sarah, and I'm a trainer here at Alertus. We're also joined today by Brooke, another trainer who will be leading the conversation today. And during this session, we will talk about the high power speaker array, or HPSA, outdoor siren components, along with how to best utilize the HPSA2 dashboard and HPSA configure system settings in the Alertus console to configure HPSA system behavior. And this is an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions using the Q&A feature or the chat. And please also be aware that this session is being recorded for training purposes. But without further introduction, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Brooke to get started.
Great, thanks, Sarah. So as Sarah was mentioning, we're going to be focusing in on the HPSA today. We are going to get pretty in the weeds, technically around how this system is set up. So hopefully the people that are on this call are people who are admin of your system and your system has an HPSA unit. If you did want to stay on the call and you have neither of those things, that is completely fine. But there are some things that might go over your head, but of course we're here to answer any questions. So with that, let me share my screen. And I'm also going to start off with a quick slideshow presentation. So for those who have an HPSA unit, this probably is familiar to you, but I just wanted to review the components of the HPSA. Once again, the HPSA does stand for High Power Speaker Array, and those are going to be the speakers and the sirens that most of the time are going to be utilized outdoors. So with the components that we have here, we have the HPSA cabinet, which is also this picture up here at the top open. You can see the batteries and all of the boards that connect to the amplifiers, as well as connect to the speakers and horns themselves. So these speakers are also part of it. And then we have something called the CCU, or the Command Control Unit, which is down here and also at the bottom here. This is the brains of the operation where it will connect to the server and also connect to the cabinet boards in order to send the alerts out to the proper speakers and sirens. Also, as part of the CCU, there is an SD card that is really important that will be in the CCU and also in the sirens and cabinets as well. So making sure that the activations on the SD card are present in all of your SD cards and also in the Alertus console. So we're going to be spending time today in the Alertus console, taking a look at how all of this is set up, making sure that that has been set up properly, and then really looking at the HPSA dashboard to make sure that we are keeping an eye on our system and maintaining things properly there. So with that, I'm going to hop into the console. And today we are in our test lab server. So there might be some things that pop up with active alerts as there are multiple people in this server right now. As you can see, there are 13. So we might have some other things going on in here, but this is where our HPSA system is set up to work with. So to see into our HPSA configuration, we're going to come down to Configure System and then scroll down to HPSA systems. So this is mostly a set and forget situation. This will be set up with your team during implementations to make sure that everything is set up properly with your CCU and your sirens. So we're going to be looking at the server dev system. You can add multiple systems, but most customers only do have that one system here. There are some specific settings that you can take a look at. So if you come here, you can take a look at different heartbeats and status seconds, as well as clock sync, etc. But once again, these are more set it and forget it. And if you do need to make any changes, then definitely contact our support team to help you walk through how and when to update any of these advanced settings. In addition, there are settings for the CCU as well. So if I come in here, there are two CCUs for this system. I can come here and set to the specific profile that I have, which I can look at over here, and then also making sure that it's aligned to the proper dip switch, which once again is physically within the CCU. So once I go into those profiles, there are a few more settings here as well. Specifically, the one that is very important is this enable SSH, which will allow remote login into the CCU device. So if you do need to troubleshoot things with our tech support team, do make sure that this is turned on for your CCU to help troubleshoot, as well as where your logs are being placed and any other specific toggles or update channels that you want to update for your CCU. Most of the time, this stays the same. Do not change anything willy-nilly. Definitely touch base with our tech support team to update these settings if needed. In addition, well, I'm going to skip activations for a second, but down here we have our sirens. These are the actual sirens that are in our system, and it will take us directly to the HPSA dashboard, which we're going to go to next. But first, I do want to hop to this activation profile section. So all of the activation profiles that you see here are the different ways that the HPSA system will activate. So the different behavior that is going to go out when you trigger that specific activation. So we can see that we have our silent test, we have a message test where it goes test, test, this is the test. We have a tone test, live audio, cancel, and then there are a few other ones that are specific to the unit that we have. You might have more, you might have less, but you should have these first 5 as default. And then any additional ones will be here as well. And these activation profiles must be in the console, but they also must be in the SD card right here. So making sure that things are aligned here and also in the SD card is very important. These activation profiles are also going to be used in alert services, which we'll get to later, where you pull in the activation profile to trigger the alert to do so from your console. So we're going to be coming back to this, but most of this page is a set it and forget it situation. You would work with your implementations team, build this out, make sure everything is working properly. And then to keep an eye on your system and to maintain your system or run any specific tests, that is going to be within the HPSA dashboard. So when I come to the HPSA2 dashboard, I will see that I can select my system. Once again, most people only have one, but as we are on the test lab server, there are a few. So I'm going to go to my specific server development system. Then I'm going to select an individual node, which might be my full system. Or I can select a group, which would pull in the sirens that are attached or the CCUs as well that are attached to specific groups within my console. Or I can also look directly just at those individual sirens. But I'm going to pull in the full system for this. And then once I do, this will, let me try that again. There we go. So once I do, we will have the command section fill out as well as the sirens and the CCUs below. So in the command section, we will see that there is, I'm so sorry, my door just closed from the window. So we will see that there is a specific list here of the different syncs and statuses that we have requested. I can select and do a time sync right now if I want to. The last one went 41 minutes ago, but if I want to do one now, then I can and send. I can also run a silent test to my sirens from here as well, and we'll also see that activate. And when I do click run silent test, we will also see that there will be an active alert in the system. So now we are running that silent test as well. And once those go through, this will update here. There are also specific commands you can do to stop any sirens, to clear any flags. If there are any warnings that you have fixed, you can clear flags. You also can work with our tech support team to apply configuration changes or reboot the system, as well as get status from the CCU as well. So lots of commands that you can keep an eye on here, which are active searches for different statuses and verifications of things. And then those will come in here and you can take a look and say, all right, that was completed. That one looks good. Great. In addition, you also can scroll down here to the individual sirens and CCUs and select what you want to see. So I can hover over and we can see that this siren is online as well as this one. We can also see that the CCU is online and that is the primary CCU. And then we also have another CCU that is online as well. But if I select one of these, I will continue having some more status information. So there it is default to run a silent test and get statuses every midnight. So you should be having these statuses update at least once a day. And you can come in here and check and make sure that things are running smoothly. If you are seeing green statuses, that means everything is running properly. We have the last activation, the dip switch that is set up, amplifier status, IP address, etc. You can have all of this information here, also around the charger board, just getting a bunch more information around how your system is operating. It's possible that you also may have a status come in that is yellow. That means that there is a warning, and it will tell you exactly what the warning is up here. Amplifier at address 3 has a low current. So you can go and help troubleshoot this at your cabinet, or also reach out to our tech support team and we can help you figure this out. If the warnings are coming in as yellow, that means that they are not going to stop the system from working. That means that there is just something that needs to be addressed soon. If they're coming in as red, which I don't believe I have any of those right now, that means that the system will not function. So we're going to want to keep an eye on these statuses to make sure that nothing is coming in red, at least. And then if you do have any warnings coming in, checking in and making sure that you do address these warnings. You also can take a look at the different sirens again. You can see that this one has a different amplifier address at 6, which has a fault. So once again, checking and making sure how to fix these warnings, and our tech support team is here if needed. Same with the CCU, you can come down here and also get statuses. I don't know if I have any issues recently with my CCU, which is great. We don't want to see those, but if there was, you would once again have that yellow warning pop up and give you that information as well. If you have unsolicited events down here, then that means that you have gotten information automatically that has come from the system. Once again, the same colors will be what it shows. So everything is coming back green. So we are looking good. But if there are any other errors or warnings, then you would keep an eye on those in the unsolicited events section. So this is a really good spot to go and make sure, once again, that things are running smoothly, keeping an eye. I also can now see that I had that time sync go through. Let me refresh my page. I also can sort by different dates and filters, of course, from that as well. So once I do pull all of this in, we will see that now my activation 3 minutes ago was successful and completed. And also my verification request went through, as well as my time sync 4 minutes ago went through as well. So a great spot. Definitely recommend keeping an eye on this dashboard as often as you feel you need to, for keeping an eye on your system and making sure that you don't have any warnings pop up for your sirens or for your CCUs. In addition, you can activate locally from the CCU, which we're going to get to in a minute, but you also can activate from the console directly to your HPSA units. So in order to activate, you could use any of these types of activations, but you would need to make sure that you have the correct alert services to pull in to the activations. So once again, as a reminder, these HPSA systems activation profiles here, if I go to my server dev, I'll be able to see these. These have to align with an activation profile and have to align with an alert service, and then also have to align with on the SD card. So now if I go to my alert services and I go to HPSA, I'll see that I have some options here. So here I have the live audio one. You can do live audio directly from your web browser or also from your CCU, which I'll show in a second how to do that. But then we also have the other ones that aren't live voice, that are specific to those activation profiles. So if I take a look into my message test, I can see that this one is pulling in my HPSA system from my server development system. I also have my activation profile, which once again aligns directly with what is in the HPSA system here, to message test, and there is no text-to-speech override on this one. If I take a look at other ones, I will see that I'm pulling in a different activation profile. So for silent test or tone test, I can go in here and see that it is pulling in from that system, but it is using a different activation profile. So if I wanted to run, for example, this tone test right here, I can come down here to tone test, make sure that that is working properly. So I have server dev system, tone test, no override. which is great. So now if I just want to run that tone test, it's just a tone. I could come to custom activation. It's not going to say anything because it's just a tone. So I would pull in tone test. I would make sure that I pull in that specific HPSA system. And then I would be able to select all to go to all of my sirens, or I can select individual sirens or groups as well. So if I only want to go to siren 18, then I only need to go to siren 18. Or maybe I want to go to my test group, I could just go to my test group. So this is how I could activate this behavior for my HPSA system from my console. I also can utilize our text-to-speech availability for the HPSA system as well. So I have a specific alert service that is called HPSA text-to-speech. It's going to look very similar to the message test one, except for it's going to have the override for text-to-speech on. So when I come in here, I will see that it's going to my server dev system. It has my message test, but it is pulling in the override for text-to-speech. So that's going to allow me to utilize this area to pull in whatever text-to-speech I want. So I can pull in one from my text dropdown if I have an evacuation order that I want to send out, or I can also type in directly, this is a tornado warning, seek shelter, or whatever I want it to say. And then I would come down here once again, and instead of pulling in my silent test or tone test or message test, which already has all of the text or tones that you're going to use within that, I would need to pull in that text to speech one. And then that is going to actually utilize the text to speech that I have up here. And then once again, I can choose, do I want this to go to all of my sirens, a group of sirens, or individual sirens themselves? And I can activate from the console this way. In addition, I also, if I want to do live voice from my console, I can put in whatever message I want up here. It doesn't matter because it's not going to utilize that, but it will be my specific live voice right here. I can make sure that it is pulling in for my server development system. And then I once again can choose, do I want this to go to all of my sirens, a group of sirens, or an individual unit? And if I do pull that in for a siren, this will take me to a next page, which will only allow me for 30 minutes to do a live alert. But when I do send this out, we will see that there will be that page that pops up. I will grant my microphone within my web browser to do that. And then I will have the 3 minutes to speak. So if I want to start speaking into my siren, then I would click this and we will see that it has started speaking. If I want to mute myself, I would mute myself here. And then I can also unmute and begin speaking again. Or if I'm done speaking, then I can just click this done speaking section. It has the WAV file that I was me speaking if I wanted to save that for any reason, or I can just continue to homepage and be done with that alert. So those are the different ways that you can activate from the Alertus console. Once again, you need to make sure that you have the alert services set up and those alert services align with the activation profiles within your HPSA system and within your SD card. Those should be set up in implementations, should be running smoothly for you all, but if you are having any issues or you want to add any new ones, then please reach out to our tech support team. In addition, most CCUs will come with a microphone. So you can locally activate from your CCU either your live voice or your other ways of activations. So when you are looking at the CCU, we'll see that there is this green screen here, the LED screen that is connected on the front, and then you have a microphone that is plugged in as well. LCD screen, navigation arrows, and microphone. And then on the LCD screen, you can manage and activate a targeted alert directly from the CCU. So you would click the OK button from the home menu, and then you would have a list of options, one of which would be activations. The activations are going to line up exactly with what you have in your activation profiles and on your SD card. So you can choose what you want. It could be silent test. It could be the message test. It could be a national anthem, like whatever you have in your system, you would select. And then once again, you will be prompted to select what sirens you want to send this to. So do you want to send it to all? Do you want to send it to a group or a unit? And then once you do select who you want it to go to, it will ask you to confirm. So are you going to send activation delta to this example one target? And you would say yes. This waiting screen would come up, and then you would see that there is an active alert on the CCU, and you would have the ability to cancel that alert from the CCU as well. This alert does not pop up within the console. It would just be locally on the CCU, but you would be able to target all of your sirens or a group of your sirens that are attached to the CCU there. In addition, you also can do live audio from the CCU. So you would go back to the home screen, you would select live audio, and then it would be the same thing that you would have within the choosing the groups, all or units. And then lastly, it would be, do you want to perform live audio? Yes. And then you would have those 3 minutes to perform by pressing the microphone and sending out your alert that way. So lots of ways to activate the system. We do have specific one-on-one trainings around the HPSA unit if you do want to get further into this system. And then, of course, if you do want to make any edits or changes or you're having any issues, do reach out to our tech support team. You can find their information down here in the support tab. There is going to be an email, there's going to be a phone number, and you also can submit a case via the customer portal. So when you log into the customer portal, then you will be able to submit this tech support ticket, which will take me directly there, or there will be that specific tab to reach out there. So here I have all my cases. If I want to say that I will have an issue with a device offline or something is wrong, then I can put that in, say the information for the HPSA system, and then submit this case, and someone on the tech support team will be reaching out shortly. But that is everything that I wanted to cover around the HPSA system today. I'm going to throw it back over to Sarah to share a few documents in the chat, and then we can have some time for questions.
Awesome. That sounds good. Thank you, Brooke. That was super helpful. And I am going to paste into the chat for everyone some articles from our customer portal. That first one there is the user guide for the HPSA2 configure system settings page that Brooke walked through. And then the second link here is the user guide for the HPSA2 dashboard that goes through all of the information for any like system errors or warnings that you might see there. And it also has some more information about the different commands that you can run from that dashboard. But we will definitely save some time. So if there are any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat or also into the Q&A box. And I don't see any current questions yet, but we will definitely hang on for a few more moments. And then I did also want to point out that we do have one of these power lunches every Friday. So next week, the power lunch is going to be how to optimize ThreatWatcher configuration for automated severe weather alerting. So if that is something that you are interested in, I can go ahead and put in the link here to register for the ThreatWatcher power lunch next week. So we will hope to see you there. And if there are no other questions, I hope that everyone does have a great rest of your Friday.
Great, thanks, Sarah. And thank you all for being here. We'll hang on for a few more moments. But yes, enjoy your Friday and weekend.